So let's start creating the tree for our first animation. So we're going to go into Create New. What I want is I'm going to go into that preset standard, so it's under Character Animation Standard, it's going to be Action Script 3, and we're going to go Create. So here we are, we've got the stage set up. So we're going to start drawing the tree. So what I want to do is name the layer. It's always important to get your workflow correct, so we're going to call that tree, and that's going to be the first frame that we're going to work in here, and we're going to go and use the brush tool. Okay, use the classic brush tool. Okay, don't use the fluid brush tool yet. I will show you how that works a bit later on, but let's start with the classic brush tool. And what we're going to do is we're going to change the colour in here to be a brown colour. So let's have a little look. It's a brown over here. Now you'll see that over on the right hand side you have got some properties. Now the way it works is changed from the older versions, so just bear with us on how this operates. So we've got the fill, okay, and when we're working with brushes there is no outer stroke to it, it is simply the fill colour that we're looking for. We've then also got the particular size of the brush and the shapes, so the one we're going to work with is the one at the top up here, which is the classic brush shape. And the size we can change in here using this slider, but we can also use the square bracket keys to make it go bigger and smaller like you do in Photoshop. Please be careful, you will see at the top here there's something called Object Drawing Mode. We do not want that selected, so if I click on it you'll see that it's now got this blue outline around it. Please make sure that that is not selected. Okay, we do not want Object Drawing Mode on. The other thing that you can do is, as I'm clicking this, you'll see on the bottom left hand corner that this has now got a grey shape around it. Again, we can turn it off over here. It's really important we do not have object drawing switched on for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to start to draw our tree. Let's make the brush a little bit bigger than this. There we go. So all I'm going to do, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is just an example of how it works. Now you'll notice as I started to draw, it was looking very rough on the edges, and what will happen is when you release, what it does is it actually smooths that line out. So we can draw down, we can draw up. So I'm just going to do a basic branch across, and let's make that a little bit more gnarled, the old tree. Put some little bit up here for the moment. Please don't worry about making this a perfect tree, but do make sure it sits within the canvas. Don't try and make it too broad. And you'll notice I've started this on the left hand side of the screen, because the way that our caterpillar is going to work is the caterpillar is going to clamber in from the left hand side of the stage and go up the tree and across. So don't make your tree sit in the middle. Now I want to get my brush a little bit smaller, so I'm going to just take the size down a little bit, and we're going to now put a branch that goes up here, and another branch that comes off, and then a branch that goes over there. It's just a representation of a tree for this particular project that we're working on. Okay, so let me just make that a little bit. If you don't like something, you think, oh no, that didn't quite work, what you can do is you can use Ctrl-Z to undo that stroke that you just did at that moment. The other thing you've got over here is you've got an eraser tool. Again, what you can do is you can actually go down the edges of this and erase little bits of it if you think that it would look better without a little section. So just take that down there a bit. I'm going to turn my brush back on and paint another branch back up there for a moment. Okay, as I've said, it's not, I don't like that. Ctrl-Z, go up again. So this is a really clever way of just drawing within animation, within Animate itself. So yeah, it's a very rough tree, but this will just give you the general idea. Now the next tool I want to use is something called the pencil tool. Now in the new version of Animate, this isn't already in your toolbox on the left hand side, you're going to need to add it. So you'll see at the bottom of the toolbar here there's the three dots, the ellipsis. If you click on that, you'll see that there is the pencil tool, and what I'm going to do is just drag it over to where I want it. So let's put it up here for a minute. There we go. And what it's done is it's added it on top of the line tool here, and I've now got the pencil tool. Now this time the pencil tool works in the stroke colour, so I'm going to go to the stroke and I'm going to select a dark green. And what we're going to do is we're going to now start on the leaves on the tree. So we've now got a green stroke. But before we go any further, what we want to do is lock the tree. So on the lock the tree layer, we literally put the lock next to it, and that now prevents me, as you'll see, I can't draw anywhere on that particular layer itself. What we are going to need to do is we're going to need to add a new layer now to put the leaves on, and we're going to call that leaves. That's that done. So we want to go and draw a leaf on the tree. Now I'm going to zoom in using Control Plus and hold the space bar down. That will allow me to move it over to the right hand side. So I'm going to try and get my leaf to actually fit on that tree in some way. So let me just zoom in a little bit more and we can see what we're working with. So hold the space bar down, that brings the hands up, and now we can actually move. Now at the moment you'll see on this left hand side, the pencil mode, there is this little square line. So if I start drawing at the moment, it will normally try and straighten a line. What I want to do is I want to make this smooth. And this means that as I start drawing my leaf, you notice it's a really, really wiggly line. As I start drawing it, it will smooth it out for me. Could do better. Let me go over and have another one. There we go. That side of the leaf. That's not bad for one side. What we're now going to do is going to draw the other side of the leaf. Okay, until we get to the point. Nope, don't like it because it crosses over. See, Control Z works an absolute treat here. We go through and we just join it at the top. Nope, still don't like it. Let me go for it. And you will get used to just having a little bit of a play around to get these absolutely spot on. Yes, that's not bad. What we're now going to do is we want to fill that leaf in. So over on the left here, we're going to go to the paint bucket tool and we're going to select, this is different, this is the inner colour now, this is the fill colour. I'm going to select a lighter green colour so you can see that that's lighter than the stroke. What I want to do is I want to fill that leaf in. So if I click on it, it works. I was lucky. But what it might find is you might find that that didn't actually fill in because I might have left a gap. So what you can do in Flash is you can go down and say actually close large gaps. So even if there's a tiny hole in the leaf that you've drawn, go and select that option, and it's the gap size, it's down here. It's also over in the right hand side in the properties palette as well. So I'm going to fill that one in. And what I want to do is put some veins up that leaf. So I'm going to go back to where my pencil tool is and I'm going to draw a centre line up the middle like so, and then I'm going to put some veins out on the leaf. I'm going to make them match over the other side like so. This makes the leaf look a little bit more realistic. Here we are. And there we go, we've got a leaf. Now I'm not going to do that repeatedly over the whole tree. There are quicker ways of doing this. So up at the top left hand corner, go and select the selection tool. And I want you to drag around the whole of that leaf and select it. And what we're now going to do is we're going to turn this into a symbol. And we're going to turn this into something called a movie clip. So now I've selected the whole entire leaf. If I right click on it, I can come down and say convert to symbol. And I want to make this a movie clip. And I'm going to call this leaf. And go OK. So we've now got a leaf. Now I am going to need to keep rotating these. So let's have a little look what happens when I select the free transform tool at the moment. If I move outside the box and you go and drag around it, you'll notice at the moment it is rotating around the middle of the leaf. Now what I'd like it to do is actually rotate around where the leaf would join the tree. So I'm going to take that little white blob that's in the middle there, the dot, and move it down to where the leaf actually would be attached to the tree. And now, as I go and, whoops, let's click on it again. If I now move outside and drag, you'll notice now it rotates around that proper pivot point, which is absolutely great. And please make sure you do this before you start to add the leaves to your tree. So I'm just going to come and zoom out a little bit using Control minus so I can see what I'm doing. So we have one leaf. What I'm now going to do is add more leaves to this tree. I can also, if I need to, make this leaf a little bit bigger. Hold shift down and it will keep it in proportion. So let's make that leaf a little bit bigger. There we go. And I'm now going to go Control C and Control V to paste. And what this now allows me to do is to actually add some more leaves to the tree. Go, let me drag that around to the left hand side over here. We're going to do another paste for a minute. Okay, and you can now keep adding leaves to this particular tree. Let's move that one over there. Now, this is also another thing that you can do. You might start thinking, actually, I like this little combination of leaves that I've put together. So, for instance, let's just move that one around. So let's say this little combination of leaves I've just put here together now is what I want to copy over the tree. So if I click on the first leaf, Control and click on the next, Shift and click, sorry, on the next one, and Shift and click on the third one, I have now got a group of leaves. If I Control C to copy those and Control V, what I'm now doing is I'm now actually able to copy the whole little group over, which does make it much quicker. Now please don't add thousands of leaves to this tree, because the more you add, the more difficult it will get. But you can now go and add lots and lots of leaves over your tree to make it into a suitable base. It's turned it from that winter kind of tree into something that you'd see in summer. Control minus will allow me to move out. Spacebar to actually add these all. That's a little bit too contrived. Let's put that one around there. Move it out. So start to fill your tree. I'll leave this up to you. It's your turn to now go and complete that tree.